Well. Hey, how you doing? It's your boy, Smokee Whine. Guess what? I'm gonna tell you the main culprits of why people don't make it in their dreams and their goals, whatever dream you got going on, whatever you got happening. I'm gonna tell you the things to avoid, on your way to success and how you can when you look at these things. You just got to see that these are the things that you need to avoid if you want to make it to success. Now, myself, I am in music, I'm in film, I'm in television, I'm in that type of thing. So that's my profession. If you want to know a little bit about me, you know, um, I've written a lot of different urban fiction novels. Some under the name Trade Load because I was a rapper, and some under the name Smokee Whine, and I flipped to a soul singer. I've did a lot of different things. I've started a television network called Cine Mommy, and I'm on the board of that. I started Underground South Connection, and I'm a family man. I'm an artist. I'm a filmmaker. We're just gonna get into it. I ain't gonna tell you too much. You want to know all of that? Just look it up, cause we need to get into the business right now for what you came for. So this is what I've seen, and one of the culprits that you gotta watch out for if you want to make it. It's a thing that a lot of people overlook, but you got to watch out for this. Opinions. Now, this one can be tricky because it's not just talking about the opinions of others, right? So we have the opinion, I'm sorry, the opinions of others. I'm a little sticky with my spelling sometime. But look, it's not just the opinions of others. But I'm gonna give you an example of the opinions of others and how bad that can affect you. You probably already know this, but I'm gonna give you a scenario. Sometimes you can work on a project or something that you're trying to do, and the thing about the opinions of others, what makes them so effective is a thing called focus. And we're going to talk about focus later. But your goal. See, when you first start off, you have a goal of what you want to do with your project. And sometimes the goal takes a minute. It's not an easy, quick thing. So you lose focus a little bit on what your goal was, right? So give me an example. Let's say, for instance, I have a lot of clients that do music videos with me. Some of them do different short films and different things like that, or commercials and stuff. So they come to me and they have a goal of what they want to accomplish, right? To give you an example, some artists may come to me and they may have a goal and they're saying, okay, my goal is I want to be more consistent with my content. I'm just going to put consist. And they want to create visuals that have good hooks on them, right? That's their goal. And then we do the project and it's taking a while. And then next thing you know, somewhere along the line, they lose focus on what the goal was and they ask the opinion of others. It could be anybody, just different people. They ask the opinion of someone else without telling them the goal. They go, well, how does this look? Or how is this? This person don't even know the goal. They don't know how much it costs. They don't know what you were doing. They don't know anything. But one thing that they do know is they know by looking at the project that you are rising to a new level. Now, depending on the relationship that this person has with you, whether they're your friend or close friend, or they somebody that just been watching you from afar, or a family member, you know, sometimes when you rise up to a new level, people close to you, they don't say it, but sometimes subconsciously, they really are real comfortable with you wherever you are in your journey. And when you ask them their opinion about what you're doing, they know that you value their opinion. So then they tell you, oh, it's not that good, or oh, you need to change this, or oh, this need to happen. They don't even know what the goal is. So now you listen to their opinion, and just like some of these artists that I know, they never put out the content. They just keep the content and they overthink. Then, because this person confirmed something that they thought, oh, what if people think this? So they end up not doing it. Because then they get mixed up into the other opinions of, that's the second one, the opinion coming from themselves. Sometimes once they get through with the opinions of others, then they start listening to the opinions of themselves. A lot of times, a lot of people, like myself, I grew up in poverty. So I didn't have the highest self-esteem growing up, right? So whenever I ask the opinions of others, if I have something that's, little mice type of thought in the back of my mind that's bugging me, just making me think something, and then somebody else confirming, and then next thing you know, they sabotaged it. Not only did they sabotage it, but I sabotaged myself, right? And that's what happens to a lot of people. And then when they sabotage themselves, they don't put that content out, or they don't go on that trip, or they don't accomplish that goal, or they don't make that sacrifice. It can be anything, right? They just don't do it because of some type of thought that they got in the inside. So it keeps them from reaching their goal. It prolongs it, right? Because what they'll start to say then, they'll do something else. And see, because they'll do something else to try to get back to the goal. And a lot of people don't know it, but when you grow up a certain type of way, it feels good to be striving for something and never accomplishing what you want to achieve. It just feels good to keep striving, to keep going. I'm making it. I'm almost there. It feels good. You get that adrenaline, but you never getting there because you don't want to allow yourself to get there, right? So that goes to the second one, which is why people don't make it. And we're going to go farther than what I'm writing, but it is belief, right? It's belief. And it's deeper than just a regular belief, right? Because you can have a type of thing where you hope you're going to do it, right? Ooh, I hope I'm going to get there. Oh, I feel I'm going to get there. But then, you know what? I believe I'm going to get there. That's, you feel the difference in that. But then when you get to the point to where you go from belief to know, right? See, you got to think of it like this. This is what I call the success timeline, right? And this timeline is, you got right here your start. And the start is the idea, right? And it's a funny type process because when you start and you have the idea, you go through a stage to where you doubt a little bit right after you have the idea. See, now, I'm going to tell you, when you know this process that you're going to go through to get to your success, then when you know the process, it becomes easy to you. And, you can keep going through the turmoil because you're going to get to some turmoil, but you can keep going through it because you know how everything is going to end. So once they had an idea, they come up here and they got to get through the opinions of others and the opinions of themselves. They got to get through that, right? So once they get through the opinions of others and themselves, then they burst through they're in the journey mode. Now, when you're in the journey mode, you're going through a whole lot of different things, right? You having new ideas, and then you try these new ideas, and sometimes it doesn't work. Maybe your lights get cut off, or maybe your car break down. It's all types of things that can happen once you have this idea that's so big, right? And you're going through it, and this is what you call the journey mode, right? During that time, you may lose some loved ones, some things happen, and you got to keep on going, and you trying to keep making it, you know? So you just doing what you do. You not giving up, right? But you going through this journey mode, right? And then once you get in this journey mode, it's a stage that comes right here before success, right? And in that stage, it's called the scary way. Now, the reason why I call this the scary way is because it feels like terror, right? It feels like terror because you have to do something that you've never done. And somewhere along in here, you're used to all of this. It's like a thermostat. I heard Bob Proctor talk about that. Talk about a thermostat, you know, mechanism that you have to where if the temperature goes too high, right? Really means like if you go too high in life, then your life and your mind and your heart is gonna bounce you back down to where you think. Get that word right there. Think, write that down. Where you think you belong. It's gonna put you back where you think you belong. Your own thoughts, right? Because you say, well, I'm not this type of person. Oh, maybe it's about being rich. Maybe it's about being wealthy. Well, I'm not this type of person, so I can't go. I can't do this. I can't go. If I'm too rich, I'm too successful. People gonna hate on me. People gonna leave me, or people ain't gonna like me, or I'm not gonna be real with my people, or I'm not gonna be able to help the people I want to help because the loved ones, the close ones are gonna leave me if I get successful. So you stay right here because you're scared, right? You scared. But let me tell you, if you get past this, then you're gonna make it to success. Now, what is the way that you can get past that? I know the way. The way is in what you call your imagination. Now, a lot of people, they don't they haven't been taught that the imagination is more powerful than what people said it was. Because in school they'll teach you, don't hey, you daydreaming in class, don't daydream in class, and all of this type of stuff. And you know so a lot of times we think of daydreaming as a bad thing, right? So we won't do it. But let me tell you, daydreaming is the best thing you can do. And let me tell you why. The reason why a lot of people don't get to their success, the third one, is because you'll never guess, is because they don't meditate. Meaning, I'm not really talking about sitting there doing like this, no. And, I'm not really talking about quieting your mind. I'm talking about meditating on who you really are, and what you want to do. Meaning, in order for you to see yourself as the person, this other person that you want to be, right? You got to first imagine it. You got to keep imagining it. You got to meditate on it, right? Because if like I'll give you an example. I remember about 20 years ago, or a little bit more, I was driving cabs. And when I was driving this cab all the time, I was driving that cab about 12 hours a day average, or a little more, give or take. When I was doing that, I was imagining myself as the cab driver for like 12 hours a day. And when I was doing that, it was hard for me to become this writer, this artist, this filmmaker that I wanted to be. It was hard because for 12 hours of my day, I was imagining myself as a cab driver. Now, it would have been a better thing if I was imagining myself as an artist while I'm driving the cab, as an author while I'm driving the cab. That would have helped me. But instead, I was imagining myself as a cab driver. When people get in, I act like a cab driver, right? So soon after, when I finally saved up enough money to leave my cab driving job, whenever I go to clubs and I talk to people, they ask, "What you do?" I say, "I'm an author." "Oh yeah, you an author? What have you written?" And then I tell them the name of my book. "Oh, I wrote Dead Soul, the realest story ever lived." Even though the book hadn't come out just yet. That was my first book. It hadn't come out just yet. But I was imagining myself like that. Like right now, I'm imagining myself as a certain type of artist. And I was imagining myself. I kept imagining myself. Right now, I've done songs with two major artists. I don't want to say it right now because I'm still working on my album and some of my music, and I want to put all of that information out at the right time. But I know that I got it and I did it. But I did not do that because by just doing it, the main thing I had to do to get past this scary way, the only reason it was scary is because I could not see my. All right. Now, bear with me because my battery went out on the camera. And so I'm trying to make sure I believe I know exactly when it went off. So hopefully I will be able to put it back together and pick up where I left off the right time, right? But what I was saying was my last good thing I was saying was that I had to imagine myself being this person in order to get past this terror barrier right here. And that's where you could be. You may find yourself going back and forward in the journey mode like this because it's like I believe, I don't believe, I believe, I don't believe, I believe, I don't believe. So you go back and forth between the journey mode and the scary way, right? You keep going back and forward. In order to just go forward, you're going to have to make yourself imagine yourself doing what it is that you want to do. And you got to take some type of action towards it, right? It might be talking to somebody that's in that arena. It might be paying another, if you're an artist, it might be trying to get another artist to collab with you. It might be practicing a lot, rehearsing, right? Rehearsing and imagining this big crowd, this big audience out there. That's what they do to major artists. They have them imagine this huge crowd out there. When we were in sales class, when I did a lot of sales classes, what we would do in these sales classes was we would role play. Some person would play like the customer, and then you would play like the salesperson, and then you try to close the sale. See, it's not enough just to imagine and see it in your mind. You're gonna have to act it out. You're gonna have to put it inside of your body, right? That might mean you imagine yourself going to the bank, depositing a check of a certain amount. And you don't just imagine in your mind, you have to get yourself to look a little foolish and do it in real life. Find some place in your house and then act like, okay, that's the bank teller and I'm walking in, this the door, and do all of these things and actually go through the motions. This is the reason why they have you practice writing your name with dotted lines before they say, well, write it by yourself. See, because they already know that you need some type of repetition in your mind in order to get it down pat. So, you know what? I hope this information helped you. I want to tell you too, if you would like to get some of my merch, just go to SmokeeWhine.com. I have some great clothing that's going to empower you, some really nice stuff. So I'll put that link in the description. I appreciate you.